and welcome to the official late night. Oh, wait, there we go. Have we started? We're live, hopefully. Welcome to the official Awtsmoos late night podcast. Trademark pending for that one. So yes, we have hopefully a very exciting show for everyone here today. It's actually a very intense and exciting time in the Jewish calendar, because right now we're in the third. Oh no! What are we talking about? We're in the 11th month of the Jewish calendar, and we're counting down the days to commemorate the 9th day of the 11th month in the Jewish calendar, which commemorates the destruction of both of the Jewish temples thousands of years ago. And this entire time is actually a befitting time for the future Messiah to rebuild the third temple. The main job of the Messiah is that he's going to be a Jewish king, descended from King David, who's going to restore the kingdom of King David into the entire world. And the entire world will be one big kingdom of Yisrael under the monarchy of the Messiah, and essentially the Creator through the Messiah. And there's going to be the Torah laws will be kept everywhere in the world, and everyone, the only occupation of all humans everywhere will only be to learn the Torah all day and all night, forever. And there's going to be no more war, no more strife. There's going to be infinite abundance in everything. Literally everywhere you look, nothing but goodness and abundance. There's going to be eternal physical life in the physical world, in the physical body. There's going to be unlimited food, no more wars, no more arguments, nothing. There's only going to be the kingdom of the Creator throughout the entire world. And it says basically the main job of the Messiah is to bring about that era. And how will he do that? The Messiah is actually going to rebuild the third Jewish temple on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Thousands of years ago, this guy named King Solomon actually built the first temple, believe it or not, around 2,500 years ago in Jerusalem, the holy city, under the instructions of the Creator. And that temple stood for 410 years. That's a lot of years, last I checked. And then it was destroyed by the Babylonians, which ultimately was through the Creator for different reasons. Then the Jewish people were exiled in Babylon for 70 years. And then they came back to Israel in the time of Ezra. They could still see the ruins of the earlier temple, not so much longer, only 70 years later. And then they built another Jewish temple, which was a big Jewish building that held the Ark of the Covenant that Moshe received. And the Ark itself was a golden box that had the tablets that Moshe received from the Creator at Mount Sinai, which include within them the entire Torah. So that was one of the jobs of the temple. Another job of the temple was to have this altar in this outside courtyard area. And on that altar, they would actually offer sacrifices, animal sacrifices, every day, multiple times per day, according to how the Creator commanded all the Jewish people to do. And those animal sacrifices, actually, they say that they increase peace and prosperity in the world. It says if the other nations of the universe would know how much these Jewish temples and how much the service that the Jewish people did in the Jewish temples would help them, they would guard the Jewish temples with iron fortresses and all their might, because the temples actually helped the whole world. Someone asked in the comments, was Cyrus the Great the Mashiach of his time? I'm not really sure, actually. It's a good question. Not sure who Cyrus actually was. I'll have to look into that. The concept of Mashiach ultimately is going to be one Jewish person descended from King Solomon, who's going to arise and restore the kingdom of King David. But in general, it says in the commentaries that there's always one Jewish person alive at all times, essentially, that has the potential to become the Messiah. There's always one Jewish person who's descended from King Solomon and who meets the minimal requirements to be the Messiah. And that person is always alive in every generation, essentially. At least one person, sometimes more potentially. But there's always at least one potential person alive at all times, who could hypothetically become the Messiah if the Creator wants it to be. So we don't always know who that person is, but sometimes we do know, etc. But the point is, the Jewish people have built these temples throughout time. 2 temples so far. Both of them were on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. One made by King Solomon, one made by in the time of Ezra, but it was made by, I forgot his name. It's kind of like a lesser known name, Darius or something like that. But the point of these temples is twofold. One was mainly to house the Ark of the Covenant, which had the tablets, which is like the revelation of the Creator, was in those tablets, which contained within them the entire Torah. And the Torah is the intellect of the Creator, which is united with the Creator. And those tablets give people the power to learn the Torah in the physical world and reveal the Creator in the world. But another main purpose of the temple is the temple service. It says this idea of the avoda, the service, which was of the temple, is actually one of the main purposes of the creation of the entire world. And it says in the Talmud, it says there's 3 pillars on which the entire universe stands. One is learning Torah, which is similar to the idea of the Ark, which has the tablets. One is to the Torah, the intellect of the Creator in general. That is one pillar of the entire world. Another pillar is the divine service of the Creator, which nowadays is primarily accomplished through this thing called prayer, believe it or not. In Judaism, the word is not really prayer. It's not an exact translation, because prayer might be interpreted as only asking for what you want, even though that's also the main part. But in Hebrew, the word is tefillah, which means connection, essentially. And essentially the idea of tefillah is to connect oneself to the Creator through one's own service of usually involving meditating on the greatness of the Creator, talking about the Creator's great works. That's the service, the divine service of the Creator, which connects oneself to the Creator. And that also involves asking for what one wants as well. That's one of the main parts of prayer. But nowadays, that's primarily done through the personal prayers that the Jewish people do 3 times a day. And all people could do it at least once a day, theoretically. But in the times of the Beis HaMikdash, the times of the temple, the prayers that we have are actually meant to, so to speak, replace this temple, the stuff they did in the temple during the exile. Now that we don't have the temples, so we're in exile, so we're not able to do the actual stuff they did in the temple, so instead of that, we have 3 times the prayer daily to kind of make up for that other stuff that they used to do in the temple. But the actual stuff that they would do in the temple is actually the main definition of the service, of the divine service. So this idea of the service to the Creator is the second pillar on which the entire world stands. And this is what the Jewish people, specifically the Jewish priests of ancient times, used to do in the Jewish temple. They would do certain stuff, such as offering animal sacrifices. They would light this golden menorah, as you can see in the picture here. Every day they would light some incense in the temple, and they would also bake some bread and leave the bread sitting out in a certain room all week and then eat it later. That's pretty much what they would do. And those little things are one of the pillars on which the entire world stands. And they sustain all of existence. And it's one of the most important things that exists is not just the temple itself, but the service in the temple, which nowadays during the exile can be accomplished to an extent through one's personal prayer to the Creator when they meditate on the greatness of the Creator, etc. But the main service of the Creator is accomplished in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Holy Temple. And by the way, just to finish off that quote says, okay, so the world stands on 3 pillars: the Torah, the divine service, and Gemilus Chasadim, acts of kindness, generally, just to finish off that quote. But the main thing we're focusing on now is the service to the Creator, which is in the Jewish temple. So in this time of year, in the 11th month of the Jewish calendar, called the month of Av, this time, on the 9th day of the 11th month, both of these temples that stood thousands of years ago on the Temple Mount were destroyed by different people hundreds of years apart on the same exact calendar day. It was totally miraculous, which in the Jewish calendar is actually known as 9/11, because it's the 9th day of the 11th month in the Jewish calendar. And there were two towers because each of the temples were like really tall, like 150 feet tall each, basically. So interesting fact. But the point is, during this time of year, when we commemorate the destruction of both of these temples during the same day, and the days leading up to that, it says it's a good time for the future temple to be rebuilt, because the future temple in Judaism, we believe, is already built in the spiritual worlds, in the heavens. And this is elaborated on in the book of Ezekiel, specifically chapters 40 and 48. And in those areas, Ezekiel was shown a vision. Ezekiel, who lived after the destruction of Solomon's temple, and he saw the ruins of it in Jerusalem, etc. So an angel showed him the future land of Israel that's going to be in the future. And in that vision, he saw the future Jewish temple that was on the future Temple Mount, and he saw every detail of the temple in its entirety. So we know that this temple is already built in the spiritual worlds, and Ezekiel was already shown it. And when the Messiah comes, the Messiah is just going to reveal that temple from the heavens down back into this physical world. And he's going to bring it into the Temple Mount. And then all the synagogues in the world, it says in the Talmud, are going to be miraculously uprooted from their place in the ground and attach themselves to this future temple. And then it says the entire borders, or the entire Temple Mount area, will take up the entire borders of what currently is the land, the city of Jerusalem, the holy city of Yerushalayim. It says that entire city now will actually just be a bunch of synagogues from all over the world that will be connected to the temple, and they'll take up all that space. And then the entire borders of the land of Israel now will become just the city of Jerusalem. All of Israel will become one big Jerusalem. And then it says the rest of the entire world will become the land of Israel. So the land of Israel, so essentially the borders of Israel will expand out to the entire world where the Messiah comes. And the whole world is going to be the holy land of the Creator. And the Creator is going to be manifested in everything we see, everywhere you look. It's just going to be the Creator only. And all sicknesses will be healed miraculously. For the righteous is going to be eternal physical life, not just spiritual life, but the actual physicality is going to be the main thing, because we're going to have the heavens come down to earth. It's going to be pretty cool. So nowadays, during this time leading up to the 9th day of the 11th month, when the temples were destroyed, it's best we're learning a little bit about the temple and the things that went on. Okay, let's see. If I can bring this guest up. We have a little program here, so hopefully we don't get too sidetracked. Hello, what's up? Hello, welcome back.
Yes, hi. Thank you for having me on the air. I'm a big fan.
Anytime. Cool.
Okay.
So we're talking about the Jewish temple.
Okay, so is the Jewish temple going to look like Solomon's, or is it going to look like the one in Ezekiel?
Ezekiel is the prophecy of the future temple, which is different than the Solomon's temple. But we don't know exactly what it's going to look like, because a lot of the verses in Ezekiel, even though they say literal measurements, but sometimes it says that the measurements are also going to be a little bit different than the Ezekiel ones. But it's going to be definitely closer to Ezekiel's than Solomon's.
Oh, okay. So how do you
Thanks for the
feel?
gifts. What's up?
Okay, how do you feel about the prophecy of the temple being on Mount Zion?
Yes, it's going to be on the Temple Mount, where the current obstacle is now. Right behind the Western Wall is where the future temple is going to be. And a bunch of synagogues need to be connected to it, so it's going to take up a lot more space than it does now.
So, do you understand that in the Torah, the Mount Zion is actually Mount Hermon? So what exactly are you saying here? Are you saying that you're contradicting the Torah?
Hermon was a different mountain, actually.
Oh, so you're telling me that the Torah has a mistake in mountain naming?
No, the Torah is the ultimate truth in
Oh,
all
okay.
details, everywhere.
So Mount Hermon is Zion.
If you say so, you're the expert.
Oh, no, I don't say so. The Torah.
Oh, you don't say so. Okay.
So why
You don't
exactly
say
are
so.
you building a temple on another ground?
The Creator is going to build the future temple. Anyway, we have a lot to get through. So basically, in the temple, they would do a lot of stuff. The temple is not just a building. The temple is a building that the Jewish priests would actually do stuff every day. And one of those things they would do is light this golden menorah that you can see here. So during this time of year, we're supposed to learn some laws about that the Maimonides, 11th century rabbi, wrote about the details of the temple and the things that they would do in the temple. So the Rambam actually wrote in quite extensive detail this menorah, this golden menorah that used to be in the temples. What exactly was it? And how did it look? What would people do with it? Basically, so as you can see in the other picture, maybe I'll bring it back for a second before we go here. So the menorah, I'll bring it back the picture for a second, then we'll come back again. So you can kind of see that it has like these different things. It's not just like straight gold, but on the branches there's these different decorations and designs. I thought I had a better picture. It's pretty brutal. But it had like a lot of things on it. It wasn't just a plain menorah. So it had things attached to the branches. I don't think I have a better picture, but it's all good.
Are you going to use the 7 or the 8 menorah? Should I glitch out? Do you read me over? Press 1 if you can hear me. Press 1 if you can hear me.
Yo, can you still hear me? I got disconnected for a second, but it's all divine. Anyway, welcome back. Yeah, it got disconnected for a second, but it's all good. Okay, what's up? A new guest here. Hello. What's up? Hi, I can't really hear you. What was that?
I have a question.
Hi, yes, your audio is very soft, but what's up?
Okay, so what is the location of the temple?
Yeah, so the location of the Solomon's temple and the temple built after and the future temple are actually in the exact same location, which is on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, behind the Western Wall.
Didn't you just
Okay,
say that?
okay.
A second. Sorry, I'll bring it back up soon.
Okay.
Sorry. Was that?
So the mountain temple, the temple is in the mountain, but what we see now is flat land. There is no mountain. The Samaritan temple, it is in the mountain, real mountain. The Mizrahi Jew go to real mountain, but what we saw now, what they claim that it's where they go now on the wall, there is no temple. It's flat air. There is no mountain there.
Okay. Are you asking?
Air, land. So just like it contradicts with the Torah.
Oh, well, behind the Western Wall is called the Temple Mount, which was leveled out on the top through man-made efforts, but the actual natural area is a mountain.
The whole mountain level up. Okay. Then the third temple gonna be built by who?
By the Creator himself. I mean, the Messiah is going to affect its building, but it's going to descend from the heavens, and it's already built now, actually.
Okay. Yeah. The Messiah. Why? The Messiah came already?
Nope, the Messiah has not arrived yet. When the Messiah arrives, the first thing he's going to do as the Messiah is cause this new temple to come down from the heavens and land on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, where it will stay forever.
Okay. Why you're not waiting for the Messiah to come, and instead of making the British giving you land? Like, British is not the Messiah. You should wait for the real Messiah, the Jewish Messiah, to come. Because you following the people who broke the covenant, and instead of following the Jews who bad people, follow the good Jew who follow the Torah, and instead of following the bad Jew who think British is the, or Zionists who believe the British is the Messiah who gonna give them land, not the real Messiah.
Okay, if you say so.
This is the Torah. That's what I say. So it's the Torah. We have to wait for the Messiah. The real Messiah is British is not the Messiah. How come Christian country become your Messiah? It's the irony is like so. And one more question.
Okay.
The second temple. The first temple was built by Solomon. The second temple was built by who?
Darius. I forgot his exact name, but something like that. The son of Esther from the Torah.
Yeah, he was Jewish.
Yep, Jewish mother.
Mother?
Which means he's Jewish.
You said his name was Esther.
No, his mother's name was Esther.
Okay. Did the King Herod the Great was Jewish?
No, I don't think he was Jewish, as far as I know.
You consider him a Jewish king?
I don't think so. I have to look into it more. Pretty sure he was not
Okay.
Jewish.
Well, by religious he was Jewish, but I'm like, is he descended from Israel? That's what Jacob.
Well, someone's only Jewish if their mother is Jewish or if they convert to Judaism.
Well, yes, he converted, but I'm like, I think the king should be like descended from Jacob, right? King of Israel.
You're asking, can a king be a convert? I'm not sure. I have to look into that. I think it's a discussion.
Yeah, those because they converted. Yes, they're Jewish. They practice Judaism. Yeah, but he's Semitic, but he's not. He's Moabite actually. Actually, he's Arab. From the area what we call now the desert, Nakab and Jordan. Yes, they all family were Jewish. He married a Jewish woman. He had kids from Jewish woman, even though he killed her later on. But even though the whole family were Jewish, his but he wasn't descended from Jacob.
Okay.
Like same as the Ashkenazi people now, they are not
Okay.
Mizrahi. The Ashkenazi people who convert to Judaism, they're not
Okay, one second.
Mizrahi.
Are you asking a question or you're just telling me something?
Okay. Did I just say something wrong? I said the
Nope.
the king
Just wondering
should
what
be
you're trying to say.
descended from Jacob, right? To be Israeli.
king?
I think.
Which king you're talking about?
What we call, the family who ruled Mizhabina. I forgot the name of the family. Who built the second temple.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. The guy who built the temple was Darius, who had a Jewish mother. Herod later expanded it, but it was not built by him originally.
So do you believe that Jewish people have to be Jewish from their mother, or you can just convert
Or
to Judaism?
converted. To one of the two.
Okay.
All Jews are converts originally. When the Jews went to Mount Sinai, the Creator converted all of them originally. So
Okay,
from that time and on, if someone's mother is Jewish at the time that they're born, then they're Jewish, unless they convert.
Yeah, because when I read the Torah, I see like all the 12, most of them. I read 11 of them married Palestinian Canaanite or Moabite from the area. So I'm talking about the 11 kids of Jacob. So they married indigenous people. They didn't go like Jacob to Chaldean, or like Isaac married Chaldean women like Abraham. They all married Chaldean family. But the 11 kids,
Okay.
they're 12. They all married. So their mother wasn't Jew. The descendant
Okay.
of those 12, they were not Jew, I think.
So-
What do you think?
Before the Jewish people left Egypt and went to Mount Sinai, in the times of Moses, which was a few hundred years after Jacob's 12 kids were born, then the rules were totally different. There wasn't official Judaism then. But once the Jewish people came to Mount Sinai with Moshe after the Exodus, then all these new laws started applying of only the mother can be Jewish. Before that, it was a totally different ballgame. But anyway,
Even that Moses, he married a woman from Midian. So Moses' kids
yeah,
are
Moses
not
was
Jewish.
before, Moses married that woman before the Exodus
okay.
happened. A lot
How
before,
about Ruth?
actually.
How about Ruth, the grandmother of David? Do you consider
Ruth was
her
a convert.
Jewish?
Yes, Ruth was a Jewish convert. She converted to Judaism.
If she's a convert, her kids can be Jewish, right?
Yes, anyone who's born to a Jewish mother at the time that they're born, if their mother is Jewish, then they're Jewish, no matter what.
My
Forever.
last question. I know. Thank you for your patience. My last question. If a Jewish person convert to another religion, is he still a Jew?
Yep, a Jew is always a Jew. They can never convert to anything else, no matter what.
Oh, then the Palestinian and most of the Middle Eastern, they're going to be Jewish by that definition.
Well, if someone's father is Jewish, but their mother is not Jewish, then they're not Jewish. So that's the way someone
They're
can, so to
Christian.
speak, become not.
What if they're now Christian or Muslim?
The same person can never convert to another religion, but over the generations, the Judaism theoretically could be lost if only the father is Jewish, but not the mother.
Okay, so for example, I'm from Yemen. Our country
Okay.
used to be Muslim country a long time ago, Himyar Kingdom. And then during
Cool.
Muhammad time, most of the tribe convert to Islam. Some tribe remain Jew. So majority of the tribe convert Muslim. So now we have different religion now than our ancestor. So now, even though we're Muslim, you're gonna tell us you're Jew, even though we are Muslim now?
I'm not sure what your question is.
I'm trying to apply your religion. I think religion to be a Jew should be if you follow the religion, not ethnicity.
Well, the creator makes the rules, not me, and not anyone else. And the creator is one who decided that one is only Jewish if one's mother is Jewish, or if they converted to Judaism. And they can never convert out of Judaism once they convert in. Those are the rules that the creator made.
Yeah, that by that rule, even the Christian now, the Jewish by ethnicity who convert to Christianity and Muslim in the Middle East, they're gonna be Jewish. You're gonna call them Jew. It doesn't make sense for me.
Okay, I'm not really sure what you're asking, but it's free country.
Okay, thank you for answering my question. Have a good
Anytime.
day.
So yeah, basically this Jewish temple that stood a long time ago wasn't only a place to hold the tablets, but they would also do a lot of divine service in this temple. And during this time, we learn a book of the Rambam that talks about the laws of the chosen house. It's called the Laws of the Chosen House, and it goes in detail about the entire temple and everything they used to do in the temple. And during this time, it's actually custom to study all about it. So in chapter 3, he starts talking about this menorah that you can see in the background. It's a little bit hard to see, but on the branches of the menorah, there was gold branches, and then at the top area of the branches, there were these little golden circles and upside down cups. I'm not sure if this is what is this? No, these are the top. This is the top of the menorah. Had where the wicks for the candles were. They looked a little bit like that. But before that, I mean, I had like a billion pictures, but now they're not really here. But the point is, the menorah had like a lot of different stuff on the branches, which is the first thing that the Rambam talked about. You could kind of see it here, but we could mainly just use our imagination, which is good too. So basically, on the menorah, it was gold with 7 branches. Not 8, not 9, 7. They were going straight out. They were not curved. They were straight. And on the branches, there was a lot of upside down cups. They looked like this, but gold. And they were on the branches, upside down, basically, for the different design. In fact, the deeper meaning of that design is that a cup is that which holds something. So the idea of an upside down cup is, so to speak, representing like this divine energy that's contained in the menorah is like pouring itself down into the world. So on each of these straight branches, there were these upside down cups that were like attached, it was all one big piece, but it looked like they were attached to the branches made out of gold to metaphorically represent the energy of the creator being poured like out of a cup into the world. And it also had these golden flowers that were attached to the branches. This is like the total amount for all the branches. On each of the branches, there was a lot of them. This is the total amount throughout all of the 7 branches. And it had a bunch of knobs, which are essentially golden, like eggs, old golden spheres that were kind of like egg-shaped. So these things are the flowers, the upside-down cups, and these little like golden egg things were like next to each other on each of the branches. Each of them had different meanings. I only know about the cup meaning. There's probably deeper meanings for the other stuff as well. But so it has to have a very specific amount of them. If even one of them are missing, then the entire menorah is not kosher, and they have to make another one, which is pretty harsh. And let's see. So these laws about the menorah having to have these upside down cups and other cool things is only if the menorah is made out of gold. But hypothetically, if the people who are building the menorah are too poor, they can make the menorah out of any other metal. And if they do that, it does not have to have any cups or flowers, etc. Only if it's gold do they have to have gold flowers and gold cups, etc. Someone says in the comments, is there historical proof and remains, or just Bible? There's the Jewish remains of the temple that is in Jerusalem right now. The Western Wall is the actual ruins of the temple that was built. And the Vatican also has a lot of the artifacts that were taken by the Romans. So this is actual history. This is like real stuff that actually exists in this world. So yeah, only if it's made of gold does it need the cups and stuff. If it's made of other metals, it could just have the straight branches. And it says the menorah had to be one solid piece of metal. It was pretty brutal how they would make it, because they were not allowed to just take scraps of metal and attach them together. That's no good. There had to be one solid piece. Usually it was made of gold, so one giant solid piece of gold. They had to like manually carve all these cup shapes and flowers, which were very intricate designs. That to manually carve everything from scratch. It was pretty brutal. You have to be like a very expert craftsman in order to even think about making it. And yeah, so besides for the menorah itself, they also had to make a bunch of other gold accessories that they would use to light the menorah and to fill it up and do other stuff with the wicks. They had certain tongs that they used to put the wicks in, and they had fire pans. I'm trying to remember what the fire pans were for. I should know this. It was something. Not sure exactly what their pans were for. But they were for something, probably. And oil as well. I mean, like things that they would keep the oil in before they would pour it in. So all these other things had to be pure gold. Gold. It says the whole purpose of gold is in order for it to be used in the temple. Gold is, it says in the Zohar that gold is such a special metal. It will always have inherent value. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, why is gold used as currency? Doesn't really make any sense. Like, what does gold actually do? But nope, the Zohar says that gold has a certain kind of like holiness in it that will cause it to always be valuable. But it says that really the whole purpose of gold being invented in the first place is only in order for it to be used in the Holy Temple. And one of the main parts of that was the menorah. And the fact that people could use gold for anything else is only because the Creator wants to provide free choice for everything. And it's interesting that the Lubavitch Rebbe said in this interesting talk in the Kudesichos volume 15 regarding the part of the Torah about Noah. He mentioned a lot of different stuff. Maybe we'll talk about. But he says that technology, the Creator created like modern day technology from the 1700s and on. Says the whole purpose is only in order to spread the teachings of the Torah, and specifically the deeper secrets of Chabad teachings. That's the whole purpose of all this modern day technology, similar to how the whole purpose of gold is only in order to be used in the Jewish temple. And side note, it doesn't say it, but interestingly enough, gold is actually used like in computers as conductors and stuff. But it says in this talk that basically that's like the whole point of all the modern day technology, just to spread the Torah, and specifically just to spread the teachings of Chabad, which maybe we'll explain why briefly one day. But it says the fact that people could use all this technology for anything else besides for spreading the Torah, it's only because the Creator allows people to have free choice to do other stuff with it. But the actual purpose of all this modern technology is only to spread Torah, and within Torah specifically to spread the teachings of Chabad. That's why the Creator made technology. I mean, since we talked about that, maybe we'll go on a brief tangent to say how we reached that conclusion. In the flood of Noah, basically, it says, how did the flood happen? It's kind of weird. Like, where did all this water come from? Just like a bunch of water that flooded the whole world? So there's two sources of water. It says in its verses the Torah says first of all, there's a bunch of miraculous windows of the heavens. There's miraculous windows that opened up in the sky, and then miraculous water just fell through them and flooded the whole world from that. And the second source of water that it says in the verses itself was a bunch of hot springs that opened up from the ground, and those hot springs also flooded the entire world. So two things: miraculous water from the windows, from the heavens, and these hot springs that came from down. And it says in the Torah, this happened in the 600th year of Noah's life. Noah lived for like 900 something years. But in the 600 years of his life is when the flood happened. It says the 600th year of Noah's life, then the water came from the heavens, and all the well springs of the deep opened up. So the Zohar says that this verse is actually a prophecy for what was then the future time. It says that this teaches that in the 600th year of the 6th millennium since the creation of the universe, which in Hebrew, the year 5600, which was, well, right now in 2025, it's 5785. So what's 5785 minus 185? And then, no, what's 2025 minus 185? Around 1700s or something. 1800s, 1700s. The point is, in that year, the Zohar says which was the Zohar was published a few hundred years before. But the Zohar says, based on that verse, there's a prophecy that in that year, it says, the intellectual well springs of the earth are going to open up, and there's going to be a lot more earthly knowledge that's going to open up, and also the windows of the heavens, meaning like there's going to be a new spiritual knowledge that's going to be revealed at that time. And right in that exact same year, within like 2 years, it says in Chabad teachings, there was the publication of this new book, which is the foundation of the Chabad, called Torah Or, and also the sequel called the Likutei Torah, which I don't have. But these are like from the teachings of the founder of Chabad, which is like the deepest secrets of the Torah that have ever been published before. And these are published in almost exactly that same year. And also, in that same year was the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. And this happened hundreds of years after the Zohar was published. And the Zohar itself is just saying that the verse in Noah's flood was already a prophecy for this Industrial Revolution. So there's a new opening of knowledge from the heavens, which is this new spiritual knowledge of Chabad that was published then, and the knowledge of the earth, which is like the new Industrial Revolution. So the Rebbe says, based on that, and like other things, that basically like the whole purpose of this new knowledge that was made and that revealed at that time, meaning like all the technology that we have from the Industrial Revolution till now and forever, is mainly in order just to publish the teachings of the Chabad, the secrets of the Torah, which is the essence of the Torah, and that will bring redemption to the world. And the fact that people could use technology for anything else is just because the Creator allows a free choice. Similar to how the whole purpose of gold was really just to be used in this base of Mikdash and the Menorah and stuff that we're learning about now. And the fact that people could use it for anything else in the universe is only just because the Creator allows for free choice, but no actual essential meaning behind any other use. Point is, let's get back to it. So all the stuff that was for the Menorah had to be made out of, well, ideally it had to be made out of gold. Gold was very important metal. It had intrinsic holiness and intrinsic value that's used for the temple. Yeah, meaning the menorah had to have 7 branches. They could not just like maybe today we'll make it out of 6 branches, it'll be fine. No, all the 7 branches, and each of those branches had to have 7 cups at the top, which held oil and like a place for the wicks to be placed. They were all one big piece of metal. They all had to have 7 branches. Each of the branches had to have cups. 7 branches, 7 lamps, basically, and they all had to be out of the same material. And the lamps had to be attached to the branches. It's actually debatable if the lamps, like the little things at the top that held the oil, if they were actually made out of the same piece of metal, because as you said earlier, like all the branches with all the flowers and the cups, they had to be like carved out from the same piece of metal. They couldn't be like other pieces attached. But it's actually quite debatable if the lamps that held the oil, if they were allowed to be later attached, like if they could be welded on later, or if they had to be carved out from the original piece. It's debatable what the requirement is, but it had to, either way, they had to definitely be attached to the branches. They could not just be like sitting on like roughly, or it had to be actually literally like attached. And basically, as you can see, that there was 3 branches on each side with a middle branch. It will bring up the other picture for a second, or maybe 2 seconds plus text. Oh, actually, here's the other pictures. What is this? Oh, no, this is other stuff. I thought I had other pictures of the menorah. Nope, it's all good. Point is, there was 3 branches on each side, and then 1 central branch. So it says you could kind of see that the wicks, the place that there was like something that actually held the wicks. So that the wick holders had to be facing towards the inner candle, towards the middle lamp in the middle. All the lamps had to face the middle. Is basically, not just basically, but actually what we're saying. Let's see if we can find the same picture again. This is actually kind of hard. Nope. Harsh. Okay, this is actually pretty brutal. Yeah, so all the six branches on the side had to be facing the middle one for different spiritual reasons. What the actual reason for that is, I'm not entirely sure yet. But yeah, basically what had to be done. And yeah, let's see here. Yeah, so so the cups that were on each of the branches, it says, the Rambam calls them Alexandria cups. I guess because Alexandria was a popular place at the time, which means that it was essentially it was wider on the top and thinner, narrower at the bottom. And these metal orbs of gold, says, are basically like a egg shaped, like they're a little bit longer than, they're not just like perfect circle. And these flowers, it's like these golden flowers that are part of it, were essentially just like as we say, like they're like a bowl that had like a peeled over edge. I had pictures, but I kind of lost them. It's all good. Oh man, this is pretty brutal. But this is just like the technicalities of how high it was. It was basically pretty high. But the point is, just it's good to learn about the general idea of what. And then in front of the menorah, there was like a stone that the priest would have to walk on that had 3 steps on it in order to light the menorah, as you can see here. Basically, it's like a little ramp to go on. So yeah, it's just important to learn about the details of the menorah and all the parts of the temple. Because through these divine services that went on in the temple, the Creator would actually be revealed into the world in an open way, causing all kinds of blessings. Just from all these technical details, like, oh, it has to be this amount of, it has to be this height, they have to have these tools. It's kind of tedious, but like, these are the things that reveal the Creator in the world. Can you imagine, like, one little golden, like, little thing, like little golden container that can actually reveal the Creator in all of creation? It's pretty intense stuff. So that was all about the menorah. Now they also had this thing called the table with show bread, which is basically like this weirdly shaped bread. You can see each of these things was like a loaf of bread, which was actually like a matzah, meaning it was not leavened bread. It was flat bread, but it was really, really thick flat bread. So it's kind of like a oxymoron. But they had this really interesting bread. They had like 12 loaves of these interestingly shaped bread, and they put it on this golden table in this inner sanctuary of the table. And they just leave it there for a whole week, and then the priest would eat it later. But just the act of leaving it there was one of the commandments of the Creator for some spiritual reason, mysterious reason. And this was one of the acts that would reveal the Creator in the world. Just baking this weird kind of bread and leaving it around. That was one of the main points of the entire universe, just for that. So there was a special golden table that they would put it on. It says, it just says the technicalities of the measurements, basically. And it was placed in the same room as the menorah. And they would just leave the bread there all week, basically. And they had all kinds of like support beams to hold the bread up to make sure it doesn't fall over, basically. And that's essentially the gist. There was all kinds of other stuff that they would use to hold the bread and to get the bread off and to bake it, etc. And then it says, this is just talking about the order, like the breads had to be stacked on top of each other with like a little bit of a separation in between. They had like stuff in between each of the breads, make sure separated. But yeah, all these technicalities might seem a little tedious. This is what the Creator of the whole universe told us to do. Can you imagine? Like the Creator could have told us to do anything, but He told us, nope, I want you to make this table with some bread and make some cool menorah and just like light it and leave this bread out. This is what the Creator Himself wants. This is what the Creator told the Jewish people to do. And these actions, these rituals, actually reveal the Creator in the world. And it says, so they had the main table in the same room as the menorah, but then a little bit outside of that, in another chamber, they would have 2 other tables. One where they put the bread that they were about to put in, and then one where they would take the bread out and they would put it on that table, basically. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. And then, I don't have a picture of it, but in the same room as the menorah and this bread table, they also had a perfectly square golden altar that they would light incense on every day. This incense was a pretty intense stuff. It had a very specific recipe that no one really knew how to make it, but it had this like spiritual aroma. And when they light the incense, the Creator would be like revealed. The energy of the Creator would be revealed through this incense. So pretty cool stuff as well. And last but not least, they had this copper basin that the priests used to wash their hands in. Let me see if I have a picture of this. Here we go. I had a sideways picture. I thought I had a real picture, but whatever. It's sideways. There's basically this copper basin that the priests used to wash their hands and feet with every day before serving the Creator in the temple. And it also had to be made with very specific stuff. They had like all kinds of spigots so that multiple Kohanim, multiple priests could wash their hands and feet at the same time. And yeah, this is basically the summary of everything that would go on in the Jewish temple, which would reveal the creator of the world. So people might be wondering, oh, what are the Jews doing in this temple? There's like all kinds of like Jewish priests like doing a lot of stuff there every day. Like, what's really going on? But everyone, including you guys now, know exactly everything that's in it. Basically, the innermost chamber has the Ark of the Covenant, which had the tablets that Moshe got from the heavens. That was the innermost chamber, which we didn't really talk about now, but maybe another time soon. And then the outer chamber, which was also hidden from all view, but we know it was in it. It had the menorah in it on one side. If you're looking at it from the top down with the west in front, then the menorah was on the left. Then on the right side, you had this table with this interesting, cool bread stuff on it. And then in the middle, a little bit towards the west, you had this golden incense offer. And then outside, in the courtyard, you had this giant other bigger altar that they would have the animal sacrifices on every day with a ramp to go up to it, which you learned about earlier. And then next to that altar, we just learned they had this like copper basin that the priests would wash their hands and feet in. So yeah, if you're ever wondering like what these ancient Jews used to do in this temple, what are they up to really in there? This is what they're up to the divine service that the Creator told them to do. Incense lighting, animal sacrifices, lighting menorah, and that's pretty much it. These things are like the foundation, one of the foundations of the entire universe. Pretty intense. So yeah, when the Messiah comes, we're going to have this temple again with all these stuff that we had before, but better. And it's going to last forever. And it's going to bring peace into the world. And there's going to be an era of eternal prosperity and eternal life and eternal peace forever under the kingdom of the Creator. So yes, we should have it now.